I don't know how much time we have here, but yeah, I guess we'll start down here. So we had we've been addressing drainage issues and water for the last few weeks, and that's what we've been doing with all the trenching and the piping and everything, was just moving water and relocating it to other parts of the property where we could hold it or let it off the property as we wanted to. And it really starts right here. It all started with, we're bringing in a, they call them Eagle buildings. It's basically just a shed, has some windows and doors and shit in it. And they work good for cabins and stuff. But we got a 12 by 32 that will sit here. So all the feed for the animals will go in it, getting it out of the garage and the shop, because we're having moths and, you know, mice are attracted to it and stuff. So we're going to set that here, and that turned into, well, let's level the hill a little bit, which turned into, well, we better put some gravel down. And then we had the issue of, we leveled it and still kept a taper on it and leveled it all the way across. It's got a little drop to it still, so the water will run back that way. And we're going to put a big lean-to back here that's 80 feet or so. Keep all the tractors and lawn mowers and fuel and just everything dirty will stay out there, freeing up a bunch of room in the garage. So we've always had water come off this hill, so much so that inside the building, when we had to cut the concrete in the floor to run new piping for the bathrooms, for the showers and toilets and stuff, because we added quite a few, when we cut the concrete, water shot up out of the ground that had been running off this hill, runs under the slab and literally just through the earth. So we have, it had kind of made its own trench, but really not where we wanted it to be. And I know a lot of guys will say, well, you can't alter water without creating other problems, and we're aware of that, and as we find them, we'll address it. But the water comes down here basically and catches, and we took the excavator and trenched through here, and we'll just walk the fence line so you can see where it goes. We made a big mess and took a bunch of dirt out of here, thus putting it up on the hill, covering a lot of the gravel. This whole thing is just, it's chert. You could take this whole entire hill and excavate it out for gravel. But I don't want it flat. I still want the hill here. So we've brought in a lot of topsoil for the top field up there and have grass growing. We just seeded all that the other day with, what was it?
It was the,
well, no, we used it's a fescue. It's a rye Bermuda. We put some clover, and then we put some wheat down, because the wheat will grow really fast. We'll chop it and drop it, and then the roots will keep the dirt from washing any more than it has. And the same thing here. We put the same thing through, and then threw straw all over it. And we've got the whole fence line inside for about that 20 feet right there that you see. So the water, we still got some low spots where it's holding, and we still have some issues across here. When we ran the excavator through, it busted the sides up kind of high here, and we've been just chopping them down with a shovel. Our guys just got busy and we haven't completed it all the way. So we're taking the dirt out of there and filling the low spots in here. And then we brought in some culverts so that we would have two approaches up to the animals and up to the top of the hill without getting all muddy all the time. So now we can walk up there and we'll have a path, a gravel path that runs up. So we put in these 12-inch culverts, and I'd never dealt with it. And it was pouring. I mean, you could hear it all the way through the building about 20 minutes ago, and that culvert was underwater. Well, I'm hitting zoom here. That culvert was underwater, so really looking back at it, we probably could have went with a 20-inch pipe and then smashed it down oval a little bit so it had more width on it to run water through. But it didn't even with the amount of water we just got, it didn't come up in the parking lot, so it was still handling it. It'll just bust this trench out to the sides. It busts out the trench a little bit, kind of like what you see right up here. And you can see it's still moving.
It's moving pretty fast for what I've
Pretty good right there through those ripples. So it's just, all the water comes down off the hill and sits there and catches. So we have another one here, and then it just continues off the property into a big culvert out at, goes under the driveway and does not cross the road. So here's another culvert we put in. And every time we do this, we learn a little bit more, and the next time we might do it a little bit differently with different equipment, and it'll definitely be faster next time. But this is all pretty new to us, and we're learning as we go. So you can see we put seed down all through here, and then we're going to go back around all these pine trees and run about 6 feet around each side in clover, just so that the clover will penetrate down, and it's a nitrogen fixer and should help those pine trees, and the clover will bring in rabbits and stuff, so that'll be good. We haven't seen a lot of deer here. We've got them in the back. We don't ever see them up front just because of the dogs. I think it keeps them away, which is good because we're about to put a bunch of fruit trees in. We're going to put fruit trees all on the inside line of this fence all the way out to the road, and same here. So when you drive in the drive, there'll be trees on both sides. And then we just got 31 Colorado blue spruces that are going to go around the perimeter upside on the hill, and then some down through here. And we're going to plant them a little tighter than they say too, just to make a barrier between us, and so you don't see that gas station over there when it's all said and done. While we had the excavator out, we dug some holes. They're about, I don't know, well, they're a little bigger than that. Some of them are 5-6 feet, and they're a good 36-40 inches deep, and we have a lot of clay. You can see some of the material that was pulled out. Just a ton of clay, ton of rock, depending where it is, and it's you might move down 10 feet and it's all rock, and then the next 10 feet it's all clay. So we busted it out with the excavator, and we got a bunch of topsoil coming from a friend's cow pasture that we're going to backfill all these with, and we're going to put trees in all of them. That way it'll give the roots some room to move until they get stronger, and it can actually bust through the clay a little better. And then we're going to take all this clay and put it back on the track. It'll be great. You can see like downhill right here on the track in one of the berms holds a lot of water right there, so we're going to dump all that clay in there and raise it up a little bit so the water will actually pass on through and wash on downhill. And then we've got the same issue in the back on some of the double jumps and some of the little triples back there. They just hold so much water when the car lands in them, it floods the cars, the razors. So we're going to put some culverts through there to move some water out of there also. But we have, how many holes are here? There's some old cable and old phone line in there. We don't even have phones in the building. We don't even have a phone line running in the building at this point.
There's 15.
15. We've got 15 trees. There's a little more than that, but you can see them running out. We had another fence incident, another gate incident. Actually, it was one of my neighbors. I don't know what he was doing rolling in here. I'd left about 10:30, so he had to have hit this thing anytime after 10:30 at night, and he hit it fast enough that it actually bent it almost to the point that it wouldn't work, and shattered his windshield, smashed his hood down, broke his, put some big dents in his A-pillars, and just completely fucked up his Tahoe or Suburban. And we have the stairwell coming in next week, and we'd already talked to our metal guy about doing a gate here, and we said, you know, think Jurassic Park, think big huge medieval castle. We might put some big concrete tracks that it actually opens to the left and the right and rolls in the tracks. Jokingly, I said we want a moat and a drawbridge, and shut up. Amanda said a moat, you're not gonna do a drawbridge, and we all looked at the metal guy, and he goes, at this point, man, nothing surprises me. So we're going to actually look at the possibility of a drawbridge, possibly a moat or a drawbridge, and then some sliding big huge gates behind it, but have a drawbridge that actually will function out in front of that set. So that's something we're actually looking into. Surprisingly, if you search castles for sale in the United States, there are hundreds of them, and big huge 70-room castles, and several of them have moats and drawbridge, so we're using that to kind of get some ideas out of. And you can see as we're down uphill a little more. We took all the cords and wrapped them up, and then we took some tubular nylon and tied them around the tree loose. And then there's another piece that actually captures the cords, so we can hang all the cords when we have to mow. We can put them right on the tree, and then the tree has another 6 inches worth of space to grow. So there's no, concerns of them being forgotten and binding the trees or anything. And then uphill, that's the top. This leads up to the top field, and then where that sprinkler there is, it flattens out and runs back to the tree line, which is quite a ways. It doesn't look like it from here, but that's all. It's not flat. There's still a taper to it, but it's flatter than it was, and it's more usable area now. And we'll probably we'll interplant some different trees through here too. But we haven't shot a video in a little while, and just thought we'd show the property here for a minute. I'm inside cutting belts and baby heads. How many boxes have you folded?
Almost 200.
200 boxes?
Around there.
They'll use every one of those tomorrow. And then you've got another, at least 300 on that other rack.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. What else? Oh, get that big old screw. That's going to be in somebody's tire.
Holy crap. I've never even noticed that.
I don't even know where that came from.
It's like what, 5 inch?
Mm-hmm.
3 or 4?
4 inch. That's one of those ones Kent used. Or, oh, you know who had this out here?
Tyler.
Tyler had this out here.
Probably just
We had a guy build, 3 guys actually built this fence. It was completely crooked. It was waved up and down. It was 45 degrees on the top cap. It waved in and out. There was just no fucking rhyme or reason to it at all. And they put it together with a nail gun. So Kent came out, pulled out, I don't know, 15, 20 poles, lined it all up, cut them all, made the top cap so that, I mean, it was banked like a damn NASCAR track. And literally in a lot of points, you couldn't even set a cup on it. It would just slide off. So Kent came out. Amazingly, it took these guys a week and a half to get it to the point it was so fucked up. Kent came out here and literally in a day had completely fixed the whole thing. And that's Kent Rush from Southern Sarasota. Apparently he can do anything. So I like to have Kent come over and do a lot of shit that has nothing to do with Sarasota. Most expensive fence guy in the world.
Yeah.
But anyways, we had our guys go through and put decking screws in these things because as they swell and contract, they'll just pop, those nails out of there. So as soon as this is all pressure treated, 4x8s, 4x4s, 4x6s, and then we got some 1x4 slats in here. But we're going to, as soon as it dries out real good, we'll spray it with some sealer, just out of a pump up bug sprayer, backpack bug sprayer, and we'll spray the shit out of it. And we'll treat it once a year, just like the wood buildings we do, same thing. But that's about it. What you got?
It's actually so it is pressure treated, but it's yellow wood, which termites hate. So we're not gonna have to worry about that.
Should be green wood, and it used to be that it had mercury and silver and some other shit in there, which really preserved the wood. You'd get like 20 years out of these old pressure treated lumber. And now it's synthetics and shit that aren't as toxic, but they don't work. So like these pressure treated wood, you lay it on the ground and in 2 or 3 years it's rotted away and fucking termites have eaten it. Like the stuff in our front yard, I made all those raised beds out of pressure treated wood. Yeah, just a few years ago, and they're all trash now. They're not even screwed together anymore. The wood is so rotted. Yep. So we ran around a little this weekend, and Tractor Supply had 20% off on all their trees, so we bought a bunch of trees. And then we went to Lowe's today, got some cherries and some nectarines and some Jack Daniel's whiskey barrels.
They still smell like whiskey.
They still smell like whiskey, and they're stamped Jack Daniel's. And we got 31 little Colorado blue spruces. So we're going to plant those up there and see how those do, and then plant them and make a barrier between us and the property over on that side. And then we're going to run soaker hoses. We're going to run about 6 feet of soaker hose just wrapped around the tree once, and then it'll run into normal hose, and then where it hits the other tree, it'll just keep doing that. And then we've got some timer systems we're going to try out that'll just run on one of these hose spigots, and we'll see how those do as far as watering the trees. We have a ton of pressure. We have a 2-inch water line that comes in, And just spraying out of a hose with just your finger, you can hit, I don't know, I bet you get 30, 40 feet out of it. Run it through a pressure nozzle, you can hit, I'll bet you hit 100 feet.
It's pretty high pressure.
So it should push that through those soaker hoses just fine.
It literally, like, you turn it on and aim it at the gravel, it literally just...
Well, if you let go of it by accident, it will flail around and it'll take you a couple minutes to catch it, and you'll be all soaking wet when that happens.
It's funny to watch.
So that's what we got. It's Sunday, Easter Sunday, and that's how we have spent our day, just dealing with some of that stuff. And here is, we got a bunch more chicken wire so that we can actually lock the chickens in and not let them out, and more importantly, keep the 10 baby goats up there out of the chicken coop and keep them from knocking over the feeders and wreaking havoc. And then some more fruit trees, different cherries, and I think we've got some apples in here as well. And
got some Honeycrisp.
we got a few started tomato plants, all cherry tomatoes that'll go in those Jack Daniel barrels. And then some basil and cilantro just for a back door out the kitchen little garden, so we can just pull herbs in the morning. So that's what we got going on, and tomorrow it will be full swing work. We've hired 4 more people who are sewing, all doing a great job. So production will be up a little as far as little knickknacks, beer koozies, pelter wraps, patch panels, aprons, stuff like that, little things. That's what they're sewing on. And then the Mystery 5 bags are in full sway, full motion. And we'll shoot a video in the morning and show you what's going on as far as inside SOE tomorrow. But that's what we got for now, and we'll upload this video tomorrow. Say it.
What?
Turn that shit off.
Turn that shit off, boy.